Hi everybody, welcome to GGGaming Gone Mad on a Wednesday night. It's 9 o'clock that the site premieres, and plenty of sport to talk about this week. We've got golf, we've got rugby, not only New Zealand Super Rugby, of course, but also the Australian version get going. We'll touch a little bit of English Premier League football with this show coming out on a Wednesday night. We can also have a look at some of Thursday's action, a big game, Manchester City against Liverpool. Of course, a lot of people were perhaps hoping that Liverpool might wrap the title up in that one, but it was done for them by Chelsea last week. And full marks to Liverpool. I know a lot of Liverpool supporters, the likes of Sean Nicholas, Vin Naidu, watch the show, and top marks to the guys. And I'm sure Gary Lentin joining me here tonight would extend similar wishes to the Liverpool fans. They had to wait for this one, Gary.
Yeah, it's their first Premier League 30 years since they won the first division. And yeah, they had to wait a few extra weeks as well because of the COVID-19 and everything. But I don't think that anybody can begrudge them the win, whether you're just last year, Brent. And I mean, since then they've dominated, one loss only, and that was a huge surprise. And other than that, their records doesn't have a blemish, and you've got to give them full credit. They've come out there and they took care of business. They weren't that impressive at the first game since the COVID, but after that they did show a little bit of class, and they're a classy side. They're a great side, and there's no reason why they shouldn't dominate for the next few years. So other teams have to come get them now. This is a good settled squad. They got some players that they can sell if they need to, you know what I mean? If they want to change personnel that are worth a lot of money, a lot more than they paid for them. So all in all, things are looking pretty great for the red side of Merseyside.
Certainly is, and I want to touch on, because at the end of the show we'll chat about Manchester City against Liverpool, and then I want to touch on the betting for next season's English Premiership, because interestingly enough, Manchester City have been priced up as favourites, but we'll get your opinion on that. But Gary, let's first move on to a bit of golf. Interesting PGA Tour event taking place this week, the Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's the second time this event is taking place, so we don't have a lot of course form to go on, and quite a few of the big boys have decided to give this one a skip. I see we got Bryson DeChambeau there. He's 7-1 favourite. He has been in cracking form, but without winning, and it's probably a sign that the field's a bit weak when we got someone like him who's a great player, but 7-1.
Yeah, I think that often it all goes out to 15-1 and 16-1. Those prices. Can DeChambeau keep going? I'm not sure that you got your message across quite correctly there, Brent. I don't think that you're running down Bryson DeChambeau or suggesting
more the field.
Exactly, that he's not a dominant player in the world of golf. He is. There's no doubt about it. He is dominant, and he's a good golfer, and he deserves to be at top of this field. There's no doubt about that. Whether he can deliver, I have my doubts. I'll be perfectly honest with you. My doubts are there because we discussed it last week. He hasn't had a break. There are not too many that I can think of that have played every single week. I'm pretty sure he's played every single week, including this week now. And it's just, he's an intense bloke. He's not very light-hearted and takes things comfortably and in his stride and everything. He's hell of intense. You can see when he misses a couple of putts, how sort of like gets to him and everything. I just want to see this race here. Oh, very close. So I just think it's all going to just be too much for him personally. And again, we're trying to take over the market, leading in golf and everything. And I just want to read you what we're sending out this week, just so you know.
Right.
And we'll send it. And if anybody wants to see it, they're welcome to give us a shout, and we'll help them out with it and bring them on board. I just want to see. I sent it to Kerry. I'll just pretty much read it to you. So all it says is GGGaming, the golf betting leader. CY, give us a try. All 4 rounds in play. So we start from the first shot and we bet in play right throughout, Brent. We give 6 places, each round leader. And then I've given our betting there, which I believe are the best prices in the world. DeChambeau 17-1, Webb Simpson 15-1, Reed 20-1, Hatton 20-1, Matsuyama 22-1, all the others online. The best prices, the best service, whatever it is. So my point is, we're giving big prices on the top 5. You and I like the same guy, Brent, and we'll get to him next. And I'm not going to lie, we don't have the best prices on him, right?
Yes.
Obviously, because there's been money and we've shortened him and all types of other things. And let's see where it goes. But just because you and I like him doesn't mean he's going to win. Doesn't even give him any more chance. And if we didn't like him, let's be perfectly honest.
Last week we liked a guy who didn't even make it to the start, Brooks Koepka.
Yeah. Correct, he pulled that, and that's another issue, and that's something we're going to discuss a lot of now. I did my money again on the racing. It's unbelievable. We're so out of form. Anybody wants to win money, let them just jump onto GGGaming now, and they'll be okay. But the truth is that I just think that the golf could be under pressure in America. I'm very, very concerned about it. Not, it just seem to be too many cases. And once the caddies get it and the players, I don't know, Brent. I don't know where the world of sport is going and how they're going to deal with it hasn't gone away. We know it hasn't gone away. But the resurgence of coronavirus, right? Especially in these other major countries around the world. We haven't reached Africa. We got our own dramas coming out. I'm just talking about the world of sport. In America, the numbers are as bad now as they ever were almost, right, Brent? And at the golf, caddies getting it and this getting it and players getting it and players pulling out. I don't know how much longer the PGA could continue if the numbers start to escalate to 10 and 20 and 30 players getting tested positive for it on a weekly basis. So that's a huge concern. Then obviously we've got the other concern of what happens in Europe with that opening up all over the place right now. I don't know. It looks like we might be relying on sport, in my opinion, for New Zealand and Australia to become the leaders of sport. And I really believe that could happen. There is golf starting in Europe again on the 20th of July, 22nd of July, towards the end of July in 3 weeks' time. Maybe even if what's today, the 1st, so second, it will be probably the 23rd of July. They got 6 tournaments there that are going to make up a British series, Brent? The British this, the British that, the UK this. It goes to Wales and everything. So there is golf scheduled for there as well. But what happens in America, that's a huge concern. Anyway, we'll have to follow that, you know what I mean, with some type of optimism anyway and hope that it all works out. But just to go back to this tournament, just because you and I like a guy doesn't mean that he's going to win. We can point people in the reasons why we like him. But if you like anybody else in golf, have a go. Like I said, we got 6 places at GGGaming. And we got the best prices. I believe we've got the best prices. We haven't got the best price on everybody other than your tip, Brent. I'm happy for the guys to show me that there's a genuine price available out there. And I'll do my best to match it or beat it. But I think what I've seen in the local market, we pretty much got everybody covered. As far as the top few are concerned, it's tough to do it for 144 golfers.
No, for sure.
But the top few where the money sort of lands, that's what we're doing. And come along and have a go. There's no doubt about it. I want people to come bet with me at golf. I really do. 4 rounds, live in play, update all the time, very little suspending. It's a pleasure. I follow it a lot, just to see that my guys are doing their job. And it's actually a pleasure to follow it, Brent.
Yeah, it is. It's enjoyable. And I mean, especially when a guy does come from off the pace to win and that sort of stuff. I mean, you get stories of really big prices maybe after the first round. The guy's 8 shots back, 9 shots back, and he comes to win the tournament. So that's the excitement of golf betting for me.
Of course. And, if I just think about last week, if Koepka wasn't there, right, could you and I maybe go on Dustin Johnson? He's a similar type of thing.
Possibly. And he was well back after the first round, Dustin. I mean, he finished his last 3 rounds were incredible, but he came from well off the pace.
That's why you've always got a chance and always got a chance. And I mean, he made 61 in the 3rd round, Dustin Johnson, his best lowest round ever on the PGA Tour. So you've always got chances. And that's the beauty of it. As long as we're betting throughout, watch it, see the tee of time, see what's going on, and see where it takes you. At the end of the day, it's a lot of fun punting on golf. I find it outstanding. But anyway, we haven't mentioned, I've gone through the people we pushed out, where we got stretches. I've gone through the fact that we can match, we will match, or even better. But we haven't discussed your tip.
Yes.
So, which like I said, we've got to shorten for various reasons. So if you like Brent's tip, you need your head read. But if you like Brent's tip, because then we'll help you get on somewhere else. But tell me, Brent, why you like your mate and who it is.
Right, let's have a look. Let me bring up the screen here. Sorry, I see I've got the background. I like Victor Hovland, Gary. I did a little bit of research on this tournament. And what I liked about him, he's 18-1 currently there. What I liked about him is he's one of the few players who's got course form and current form. And course form is, you've got to be careful talking about course form here. This event, it's the second time that it's taking place. So you don't have a in-depth course form. But he was somewhere around the top 10. I think he was 13th last year in this event. And he's been very consistent. He's been very consistent in terms of his current form, also hovering around the top 10. And I think if you add that together and then take into account that this is not the strongest of fields, and just to illustrate the point again, DeChambeau, like you say, he's class, but last week he was 12-1. This week he's 7-1, and that gives you an indication. And I think Hovland, look, I must say, clearly the bookmakers, and yourself included, and the guys are onto him. But I was very impressed with him, and I think he's a big runner.
He's a good golfer, there's no doubt about it, and he's a big runner. And I think one of the advantages about not being at a course where they've had the tournament regularly before is a youngster doesn't have the disadvantage of some of the older guys having played the course 7, 8, 12 times. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Like you say, he played it last year. Nobody else has played it more in a tournament format than that, right? It's either the same as him or less than him. You played last year, then you played the same amount unless you missed the cut. So he has as much experience. So he's a youngster. We know that. It's his second or year on the tour, whatever. Maybe his first year, I'm not even sure. But he's not at a disadvantage because of it. So I think he's a big runner, but it's just my opinion. It's a golf tournament. There are a lot of other golfers with a big chance. And it promises to be an interesting tournament, especially that you and I like the same guy. That's pretty exciting, Brent. I think maybe we have to do a special for that. Maybe what we got to do is say anybody that has a golf bet on a winner,
right,
in the first 2 rounds until the cut is made.
Okay.
If that runs second and gets beat, that guy runs second and gets beaten by Hovland, we give them back their stake, and we'll give them R1,000 free betting voucher as well, just to show that we're good sports.
Okay, that's a nice one. So basically, Hovland wins the tournament. If your fancy comes second to him, you'll get your stake back and R1,000 free bet.
And I'll tell you what, if your guy comes in the first 5, we'll give you back half your. We'll give you back if your guy comes in the first 5 and Hovland wins, we'll give you back 80% of your stake. Only reason we're keeping 20% is because you weren't smart enough to follow Brent and I. But that's where we go. But they couldn't have backed Hovland as well, right, Brent? I can't back Hovland as well, get their stake back on the share collect. Then they're like giving us one that we don't even know where we're coming from. But that's cool. I'm happy with that deal. You've got all the details there, and the guys just need to send a message to you and say, right, I back so-and-so, he came fourth. Well done, Brent and Gary. You tipped the winner, give me back my money, and they get the money back straight away. If the guy comes second, they get their money back plus R1,000 free bet. So they can celebrate with it.
And we'll be more than happy because our money's on Hovland, so we'll be collecting as well.
Only too happy with that one, right?
Excellent. Anything else in the golf thing, Gary? I guess this isn't, to me, I've looked at this, it's not one of the events that has really captured my imagination as far as the golf goes. I like another guy just further down, he missed the cut last week. Poston, his name is, he's about the 40-1 mark. He's also Katie Poston. He's also got a bit of course and current form, except, of course, he did miss the cut last week, so that's perhaps a bit concerning. Snedeker is another guy who could go well. And then, ultimately, this is the sort of tournament I was looking. The guy won last year. I think what's his name? Nate Lashley or something. You
know what I mean? Nobody ever
heard of the guy.
No. So that's why, if you know what I mean, if you've only got like a couple hundred you want to wager, go deep down into the bottom of the boards and choose anybody. I'm sure last year, Lashley must have been 250-1 when they pegged it up, maybe even more. So you never know in this tournament. Like you say, there is a slight, with all due respect to all the great golfers that are there is a slightly less more, let's put it this way, there are far less marquee players teeing it up this week. There's no doubt about that. The big names aren't all there. Most of them are missing. So this is your chance to get a spook through, go and put R200 on a 500-1 shot. It's a big win if it wins, right, Brent?
No, that's for sure. There's nothing better than, as I say, for me, golf, it's about hitting that, anything over the sort of 20-1 mark, or maybe 10-1 and above. Because let's face it, Gary, in other sports, how often do you pick a 10-1 rugby winner? Very seldom. You've got to put a big bet generally down in the rugby to get your return. And that's the beauty of golf. And particularly when the majors come in. As you say, I'm a bit concerned about where the PGA is heading. But if the majors do come, and I really hope they do, then I'm going to be very excited. Yeah,
me too. And I really hope they do. And I just hope, I don't know how. I don't know if you know that a jockey in South Africa tested positive yesterday. And like I said, I don't know where it all goes. I don't want to be the prophet of doom. I want everything to continue and everybody to be well and healthy, obviously. But it just seems so difficult to contain this. Am I right, Brent? It's just like, it's frightening, you know what I mean? That it just seems to be everywhere. And I think we just have to just hope for the best. And everybody has to do their best. And everybody has to do their little bit, Brent. And that's the truth. And that means, if you know somebody that's got symptoms, convince them to stay at home. And if you do go out, think about it before you go. I'm not talking about any badly about any business. I want everybody to survive. But if you do go somewhere, follow the guidelines. If you go to a restaurant and you're going to take off your mask, make sure that the people that are with you, you know what I mean, or people that you know are also healthy as well, Brent. And, just it's not worth going and having 4 or 5 beers at a mate's house, getting paralytic, and then stopping off at a restaurant on the way home and being slack or something like that, So there's so much luck in it and everything. But I think the more careful you are, the better the chance you give yourself. The longer it takes for this thing to be spread out, the better it is for everybody, and the better it is for sport and for for the economy and for everything that we deal with. That nobody can dispute or deny.
No, that's for sure. And let's face it, at this moment, if you ask me which country would you like to be living in right now, I would tell you New Zealand, because, of course, we've not only got rugby there, Gary, but we've got rugby with crowds. And it just adds so much to the game when you've got the spectators in. And let's move on to Super Rugby, because we've got my team, the Blues, are being rested this week. They nearly lost that game last week against the Highlanders. But
Yes.
At the end of the day, they've been rested. And we've got two games. We got the Crusaders are away to the Highlanders on Saturday morning, and the Chiefs are at home to the Hurricanes. That's on Sunday morning, 5:35. I've been getting up nice and early for all of those games. Take us through those one. I know I priced up 10.5 points, I think, Highlanders, Crusaders. And I think you guys are now 9.5, but I think you also came out quite close to me.
Yeah, so let me just go to that game. I just want to see something here. Let's see what other horse we played here that will probably win here. Okay, that's my number 10. Okay. Brent, let me go to that game there because I want you to know exactly what we're doing. Hold on. And I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that last week, the Crusaders got caught in very, very sticky conditions. And it made them perhaps look a lot less sort of impressive as they were the week before. But here they are this week. They're going to play. I have no proof about this, and I don't want people to phone me later and crap all over me, right? But I would imagine that they'll play with a closed roof. What do you think, Brent?
Yeah, in Dunedin, I think it's automatically closed. I think the roof it's not a retractable one. As far as I know, it's closed all the time.
Oh, is it? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Shows you. I just learned something new. So in those conditions, there's no doubt about it that they do get to, how would I put it, show off their talents. And that's what the Crusaders need. There's no doubt about it. And I think that you'll see it this week, and I think that the Highlanders will get absolutely destroyed. That's my honest opinion. Again, like I said, I mean, I'm a big fan, I always have been, of the Crusaders. And I'm a big fan of the Highlanders. So for me, this is my perfect game. I got my favorite New Zealand team against my least favorite New Zealand team. So what I do is quite simple. I put all my money on, and I hate my favorite team, and I hate the team that I hate the most anyway, with so much more passion after I do my money. But that's just the way it works, right? My money is going on the Crusaders, 9.5. That's for me. I think it's too low. I think I'll win that one comfortably. I don't even think I'm going to be under pressure. I think being more than 17 with 10 minutes to go, and I'm going to lie in bed, drinking my coffee, dunking my rust, and having a wonderful Saturday morning. I certainly hope so. I don't think you agree.
That's after your shower and your 21K run.
Well, Saturday morning, no, runs, let me be perfectly honest with you. I got my elliptical and my stationary bike, and I got the gym in the back room there. I have a bicycle downstairs, right? That, I don't know, somebody thought he was a wise guy in my building because they went and they lifted the seat up. To be perfectly honest with you, I say that if Victor Matfield got on the bike, he couldn't reach the pedals. I head outside there the first time I go for a cycle with my bike. I haven't quite realized this, right? So out there, this is the first time I'm going to hit the promenade with my bicycle. So I put my foot on the pedal and I like swing my leg. My knee smashes halfway up my saddle. What the hell's going on here? Now they've taken the kit off my bike as well. There's no tools on the bike. Not that I would have known what to do with them anyway. So my big decision was, do I retire gracefully, take the bike, stick it in the garage, leave it there? Or do I look like a complete twat and wheel my bike to the bike shop, which is only 2 blocks away, right? But nothing, to me, nobody looks more stupid than a guy pushing a bike.
Yes.
I mean, where's the sense in that? So I put the bike back in the basement, left it there. That's it. No more cycling for me. As far as when you say 21K runs, I'll go back to the running as well, yeah. My concern with running is quite simple. That at least at home on the treadmill, I'm at home. That's it. If I go for a run, what happens if I'm doing a 21K and I pull my ankle 10.5 kilometers away from my house? I'm buggered. You think my wife's going to come fetch me at 7 o'clock in the morning if I phone and tell her that I twisted my ankle? She'll tell me I'm a idiot and she'll go back to bed. So for me, I'm a treadmill.
Treadmill, you can watch your racing, you can watch everything while you're on the treadmill as well.
Exactly, beautiful. Can't be better. But I promise you now, Brenton, you can phone and test and you can do it on Zoom or you can do it on WhatsApp call. I will be on the elliptical while that rugby game's going on. I'll get on the second for the second half, and I'll do the full 40 minutes. Well, it's much more. It's like 47
I'll tell you what we'll do.
minutes.
This is Saturday morning. I'll tell you what we'll do, Gary. We'll do a live broadcast at halftime with you on what are you going to be on, the treadmill or the, what's it called?
I'll go elliptical because if I go on the bike, it shows my fat rolls a little bit too. They become a little bit too apparent, right? You know, that like bending over thing. But what I'll do is I'm happy to go elliptical. You can phone me. I mean, I don't know if Lauren will be there, but I'm happy to go and hand hold it, and you'll see me going. I'm pretty good on the elliptical. I'm okay to go. I'll even go on the bike. No doubt about it. But you'll see me, and I'll show you the speed I travel at and the resistance. You'll be impressed. I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I get on the stationary bike, I mean, who was the guy? What was his name? The bandit Pantana. What was his name?
Marco Pantani.
Yeah. When you see me going, I promise you now, there are people that would maybe mistake me for him, you know. So I'm quite happy. No, come on the bike. Didn't I once have to ride a stationary bike for you in the studio?
Yes, on Betting World. I think so.
I just want to clear it up. You gave me, wait, let me go that way, a seat that was that big, right?
Yes.
Am I right, Brent? The seat was that big, and my bum's that big. So when I sat on the bike, right, the seat went into places that I didn't even know existed in my anatomy. No. Now, here, my bike, I've got that long one with a backrest. I'm sweet. You'll see a different cyclist this time around. We're
going to chat at Gary. We're going to chat at halftime in this game, but let's run a quick comp on this game. We got the Highlanders up against Crusaders. I can tell you the shirt number ones have thrown the boys out on the last few weeks because they've all gone high, and most of the games have been actually in the end shirt numbers fairly low scoring. That Crusaders game, as you say, conditions weren't good. I think it finished on 44, and all of our guys were in the 60s and 70s are projected. Should we stick with shirt numbers on this game?
Yeah, let's stick with shirt numbers. There's no doubt they're going to be higher. No doubt they'll get into the 70s, in my opinion, this time around. But yeah, let's do that. And so we'll go shirt numbers for 500. They must be within 3. That's an easy enough one. And I'm prepared to say this. If when you phone me at halftime, if I'm not on the bike, right, and I haven't done it 5 minutes, Brent, and I'm not sweating, then we'll take the 500 to 5,000.
Okay, excellent. Let's make it within. Okay. Well, should we make it within? We normally make shirts within 5, Gary. Should we make it within 5?
Okay, do within 5 if it's for 500. If it's for 5,000, within 3. Okay? Within 3,
okay, fair enough.
Better send me a message on Saturday morning reminding me to get on that bicycle,
Will do. Just for the record, I fancy the Crusaders there as well. I do see a lot of our shrewd punters, some of which will be joining me on my show tomorrow night. The boys have gone for the handicap a bit, 10.5, 11.5. I take what they say. Maybe the Crusaders, didn't look that impressive last week, but I'm kind of in your camp here, Gary. I think they could run away with this game at the end. And the Highlanders are good. I mean, when I say the Highlanders, they're a scrappy team. They'll fight you all the way. But at some point, I think the Crusaders are going to take control of this game and pull clear. And then Sunday morning, I won't contact you early on Sunday. I don't expect you to be up at 6 o'clock on the machine. But Sunday morning, of course, we've got the Chiefs against the Hurricanes. Now, this one I priced. Yeah. I think it's 6.5, and that's pretty much exactly where it's been all week. I don't think there's been a lot of movement on this one.
No, there hasn't been, and I mean it's I'm a little bit, these early morning games are not. The Sunday mornings don't quite have the same interest from a betting perspective or from a watching perspective. You've got to be pretty dedicated or have a bad sleeping pattern to watch it, Brent. And it doesn't matter. I don't want to be. You know what I mean, blasé about the fact that we're watching rugby live, because we're very, very fortunate to be able to do that in these times. But it's so hard, and for me, we have so much less turnover on these games, and you never know where you are, and it's very, very difficult. And from a bookmaker's perspective, you get up and you're not sure. You go to bed at a normal time on Saturday night, you watch a bit of golf, whatever it is. You go to bed at 1 o'clock. You're standing this team, and you wake up in the morning, you think, oh, fantastic, I got the money. But yet some wise guy got to at 4 o'clock in the morning. But but I think that plus 6.5, the Hurricanes, they're at 8 to 10 on our boards. I think they'll go back 9 to 10 anyway there. It always seems to go there. I think it's a good line, 6.5. Brent. I'm definitely not happy. It's you guess. There's my market, and I'm happy to do that. You know what I'm saying, Brent? Let the punters their own way, right?
No, I'm with you there, Gary. I mean, I also had as I say, that's exactly where I priced it. One thing I did see one of our guys mention that, and it's a good point as well, is the Chiefs now play their 4th game in a row, and that's actually a big ask. 4 New Zealand derbies on the trot, which is a big ask for them. And if anything, I might find myself leaning towards the Hurricanes on the plus here. But maybe have a look at points lines, weather, and all the rest. But Gary, I write an article for the Citizen newspaper each week, and I was saying in my article, on the 13th of June, or building up to the 13th of June, the excitement of the rugby in New Zealand. Not only, it was New Zealand rugby, but it was also because our first rugby. And then now you go to Australia. Now, the Australian derbies are taking place. And I can tell you there are guys who are excited about it, and it's purely punters, purely guys who see betting value there. I can tell you the Reds against the Waratahs first game. Last week on the handicap, the likes of the youngster son of a punt and Henrik and them, they were all over the Reds -3.5, and that's moved out now to -7.5. So punters are interested, but your average rugby fan in South Africa is not terribly interested in these Aussie derbies.
No, we never really have been. At the end of the day, it's just so difficult to go and watch an Aussie derby after you've seen New Zealand or South African sides playing rugby. And we've come out now that I've come up just for the sake of simplicity after some of your input, a lot of your input, at 8.5 on both games, Brent? So we're at 8.5 on both games. And I just think that, I've got to bow to the superior knowledge of guys like Henrik and that. And they thought, there's no doubt that 3.5 and 4.5 was too low. 7.5, 8.5. I don't know enough about the sides to really. I don't want to sit here and act arrogant and act like a brass that I know what's going on in those games. I don't really, because that hasn't bit me. So we've got our prices up there again. I'm very much in the position. There our prices, come have a bet. That's what we do. We bookmakers. We put up markets, and if you're lucky or you're smarter than us, you'll win. I don't have an opinion, and I won't be changing markets there a hell of a lot. Brent, sure, if we come out at 3.5 and we're wrong, but I'm saying now there'll be very few changes in Australian markets from the Wednesday night or Thursday when guys watch your other show. So we're pretty much 8.5. They may fluctuate between 8 to 10 and even money the two games. I'm not even sure about that. Something to do. It's better than nothing, Brent? I'm sure we don't have the excitement, but if you hadn't had sex for 2 weeks, 2 months, and I give you a beautiful model, of course you're going to be excited. If I give you a girl a little bit this, a little bit that, not as hot as the other one, you may not be as excited, but you're still not going to throw it away. So I'm not throwing away the Australian Super Rugby. Right? I may not be as excited as I was for the New Zealand one, but I'm still going to be punting and watching it. And I promise you now, I may not be on my treadmill or my bicycle, but I'm certainly going to watch it because it's a lot better than nothing. That's for certain. And I look forward to the day that we got South African derbies happening again. And, hopefully that happens towards the end of winter. I don't know if it can. Maybe it'll only be next year. But it's a pretty much contact rugby, isn't it, Brent?
No, that's it. I love your analogy there, Gary. Very, very good. But maybe what we should do, just something a little, I know you like to do those virtual games. So maybe we need a comp going across the two Super Rugby competitions. Something like
Let's go back. We haven't done anything on the second New Zealand game.
Okay.
We got to. So let's just go. Let's give the guys 500 Rand first try scorer. Simple as that, Brent?
Yes.
And if it's a guy with a strange name, within 2 letters.
Okay, 100%. Yeah, don't worry too much about the spelling there. First try scorer. That's in the second game, Chiefs Hurricanes.
Right. So let's go to the two Australian games. Well, they're both handicapped at the same, Brent?
Yes.
Right. So let's do this. Let's go the two favourites to play each other against the two outside to play each other, right? I don't think what we want to do, right? I don't think what we want to do is get involved in watering down New Zealand rugby by putting some Australians into it, right? That's not fair.
No, fair enough.
saying 4 goldfish into a piranha tank and saying to them, go fight. No, that's not fair. Let's leave the Australian rugby teams with each other, right? Let the fairies play with the fairies and the giants play with the giants. I think that's the way we're going to do it here. So let the two minuses play against each other. You let the people choose the score. What we'll do is we'll give 250 Rand for each score, right? So you don't have to even say who the match winner is. No, you do otherwise it won't work. That's the game. You have to choose the winning team out of the two favourites
and how much they win by. Yes.
And what the winning mark will be, right? And we'll give 500 Rand. And we'll do the same in the second game with the two bottom sides. And you have to be within 3 or 4 points because we'll work out the closest is going to win. Brent, we'll give away the money there as well. celebrating that the Fairies are back playing rugby in Australia. But
so just to confirm for the guys, the fixtures is going to be Reds against Brumbies, and the other fixture is going to be Waratahs against Rebels. So we want to know if the Reds score 25 and the Brumbies score 21, then the Reds have won that by 4 points. So that's going to be a virtual match. So the guys will go for that. Okay, great. So we got those. We got those two. What are you giving away there, Gary?
500 for each game. And
okay, excellent.
We'll give it away. You know what I'm saying?
Great. No, guaranteed. Celebrate the return of Australian rugby.
That's it. And I'm only pulling in people's legs. I mean, Australian rugby players are great. And there's a huge amount of pride in a Wallaby rugby jersey. About 2% as much as it is in a baggy green cricket cap. But I mean, they're all still a great rugby nation. There's no doubt about it and everything. I'm just pulling people's legs. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. They got a hell of a record, Australia, when it comes to rugby, especially sort of post-apartheid times. We never saw too many Wallaby sides here earlier. We just we heard about like the Ellas and that. You know what I mean? A very famous rugby family. But since we came back, Australia have been right up there for a lot of it. And I mean, people like Eels, and we can go Horan, Little. We can go back. There's hundreds of them. Willie we can carry on forever. Hooper, you know what I mean?
I think Australia actually started favourite, if I remember correctly, for the '95 Rugby World Cup. I know in the end New Zealand were the dominant team, and we had to beat them in the final. But Australia, that first game we had against Australia were the '91 champions, and I think they actually started. They in the '90s they were a quality side, the likes of, as you say, John Eales. In the late '90s, early 2000s, Sterling, Mortlock, all of those guys. They were great. They had some great sides.
Now I'm apologising to them, but I'm going through the whole lot. But obviously, I think we've missed perhaps. I think Eales is maybe my favourite Australian rugby player. Maybe second.
You remember what his nickname was, Gary?
It was. I'll tell you what it was. It was this because nobody's better than that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what it was. It was.
His nickname was Nobody because nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, exactly. I knew it was something like that. But I mean, and I've read a lot of things. He's a great guy from what I've read and seen about him. But I'll tell you the one player we haven't mentioned, and that is Gregan. I mean, Gregan, maybe you don't know. I mean, he was in a time when there was the late Hurst and Marshall. So he was at the time when there'll never be 3 scrum halves in the world again that good at the same time. I'm pretty sure about that, right? And he was as good as any of them. And I mean, the tackle he made on Jeff Wilson when Australia was
it Jeff Wilson, Aiden? Yes, I remember that.
They were still trying to keep the domination and I mean, that did keep it going and everything. And I mean, he did a lot with Larkham. And I mean, a lot of people got a lot, you know what I mean? Larkham, he is very much, how would I put, more controversial. And it's a little bit different as a rugby player and a fly half than a lot of other ones. But, he won a lot of games for Australia and he's turned out to be a reasonable coach and everything. No, they have for the last 25 years, Australia, they have been right up there with New Zealand and South Africa, no doubt about it. And they've had some great British Lions tours come to them as well. And good luck. Now, I think I've cleared the slate. I'm fine. Nobody can complain.
You're fine. No Australians going to have a go at you. Gary, let's quickly talk about the soccer. And I only say quickly because I've got to upload the show before it goes 9 o'clock. And so we got Manchester City up against Liverpool. Of course, this game won't be deciding the title. Liverpool have got that. I see City are favourites. By the way, City, I see a price at even money for the title next season with Liverpool 13-10. And I thought that was interesting because of your comments at the start of the show.
Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to do a special here, Brent. I mean, I know it's not a great special because people have got to tie up money for 10 months, right? But if anybody wants to, I'll go for till the end of till Sunday night. I'm happy to lay 15-10 Man City to win the league next season.
Right. Great. And what do you think of the game on? I mean, where are Liverpool's mind? Are they chasing 100 points, or do you think they could be still celebrating when they step out there?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what I think, Brent. I think that to get a medal, you have to play 5 games, be a part of 5 games on the field. And I don't think that this is a game where he's going to start bringing those people in. I really don't, Brent. I think that this game. I think that there's got to be respect and there will be mutual respect for the 2 best sides in England. And they are the 2 best sides in England. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And I think that they'll both give each other the respect of playing the 2 best teams. I see that Guardiola said that he's definitely going to go out there and Liverpool will get a guard of honour when they come on the field. And that's fantastic. But I think that tomorrow night, there's no games. They'll play their best 2 fields. Man City will want to prove that they're as good as Liverpool. And Liverpool want to prove that they are the champions. There's no doubt. There can be no questions. The points are on the board, but they've gone to Man City and they've won there. They can never ever be. There can't be an argument anyway. But
yeah,
that would,
but they would love to. They would love to just wrap it up that way.
And I'll tell you my honest opinion. I think that Liverpool will beat them. I just think that Liverpool have got it over City this season, and I think they'll have it next season. That's why there's 15-10 Man City to win the league at GGGaming. I don't think I've gone mad.
Excellent. No, I think it's. I probably would have been betting about the same as you. I did think that Liverpool would start favourites. So, Gary, that's it then. Anything else you want to mention for the weekend? Any horses stand out or anything for you?
There's great racing at Scottsville on Sunday. A lot of Group 1s and everything. I'm going to tell the guys to get onto Neil's show, our partner Neil. I mean, we've got no problems with that. And get on there. He's going to have Sheldon Peters on and the other guys. The show that we did, that I wasn't involved in it, but the show that they did apparently on Monday night for yesterday's racing, the one guy, Monty.
I saw you 4 in a row or something.
5 seconds. 4 winners in 5 seconds. That's pretty hectic. And we had a lot of winners out there on Sunday. Guys, it's a great show. You're hearing from, it's a decent panel, but you're hearing from really knowledgeable people. I'm there as well, but I don't fall into that category as well. I'm just there, as Monty says, because I play with my beard the whole time and nobody else has got facial hairs. But the fact is, you get great tips. We don't charge for them. You come on there. It's fairly entertaining. Come there, see what Monty and Sheldon and Ravon and Neil and Nick and all the Swartz guys have got to say about the racing. Great racing on Sunday. Great rugby. You know what I mean? We welcome back the Australians. And great soccer tomorrow night. Brent, we're very lucky to have all the sport. You know what I'm saying? And, let's just enjoy it and love it. And, it's great. It's fantastic. The golf, I don't know what it's going to throw out this week. If it's not Hovland, I'm going to say it's 100 to 1 shot or more. So be careful where you punt. We've got specials at GGGaming. You're welcome to come take us on there. Brent, the next time I see you, I'll be on the bicycle on Saturday morning.
Yes, looking forward to that halftime chat.
Well, and I'm not going to just be sitting there. I'm going to show you how long I've already been going for, right? And the fact of the matter is there's nobody in my house that will do it, right? My dogs don't cycle. The last time Lauren cycled, I think penny farthings were in fashion. And the only other person in my house is be looking after Lauren's sister had a double knee replacement. She's not in a cycling frame of mind right now. So whatever it is, it's been me that's doing it. And I look forward to it. And I'm pretty confident it's going to be at least 20 minutes by the time you call in, Brent.
Excellent. Gary, that was great. Great chatting to you. And just to mention to the guys who do want to watch Neil's show, we're actually carrying them on the Good for the Game website as well. So you can actually go there on the page and you can watch it through. It links directly through to the YouTube channel. So, I'll certainly be following some horse racing tips as well. Gary, great chatting to you. And, we'll touch sides on Saturday morning during the rugby and then, of course, next week again.
I look forward to it. I'll see you then, Brent.
Excellent. That was Gary Lentin of GGGaming.bet. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for the show. Just a reminder, we do have our live rugby show. That's 9 o'clock, the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. That's on Thursday night. We're going to have a top-class panel assembled this week. We've got New Zealand rugby. We've got Australian rugby. Absolutely can't wait for the action to get going. Thanks for joining us. Good luck to all of you who have entered the competitions. And remember, 9 o'clock every Wednesday night, the show premieres and vouchers given away each week. Thank you, everyone.